A federal judge just delivered a crushing legal defeat to Joe Biden's home state of Delaware in a major immigration enforcement battle. What's up, guys? This is Colton again, with the most important news on the internet. Here's what went down. Delaware officials completely ignored multiple ICE subpoenas demanding confidential employer and employee data from 15 businesses. ICE was investigating suspected hiring of undocumented workers, but Delaware just said no and refused to comply with federal law. So the federal government sued to force compliance, and U.S. District Judge Colin Connolly didn't hold back in his ruling. He told Delaware they had to turn over the data and basically called out their resistance as purely political. The judge said, quote, "This is a political argument, not a legal one. This court is not the proper forum in which to air generalized grievances about the conduct of government. It would be wholly inappropriate for me to consider this line of argument, and I decline to do so. That's judicial speak for wasting my time with politics." Delaware's newly appointed U.S. Attorney Benjamin Wallace celebrated the ruling, saying, "We are gratified that the court recognized the simple truth at the core of this case. Federal law applies to everyone, whether they are a state or private entity, and whether they agree or disagree with the federal government's policy priorities." But here's the thing. Delaware wasn't just being difficult for no reason. They clearly disagreed with the federal immigration enforcement priorities and tried to shield local businesses from ICE investigations. And here's the crazy part nobody's talking about. This case exposes a massive legal vulnerability for blue states trying to resist federal immigration enforcement. Delaware thought they could just ignore federal subpoenas, but this ruling sets a precedent that could force compliance nationwide. What we're seeing is the judicial system drawing a hard line between political disagreement and legal obligation. Now, this is where it gets interesting for everyday Americans. If you're a business owner in a state that's been protecting you from ICE investigations, that protection just got a lot weaker. This ruling essentially says states can't shield businesses from federal immigration enforcement even if they disagree with the policy. For workers, this means ICE now has a clearer legal path to access employment records across the country. And for state governments, this is a wake-up call that ignoring federal subpoenas isn't a viable resistance strategy. Do you think states should be able to resist federal immigration enforcement, or should federal law always trump state preferences? Drop your take in the comments below. I'm Colton, with the most important news on the internet. See you tomorrow.